Hello, hello, Eva. Thank you so much for joining me today and having time to talk about your fundraising experience with Howie.
Hi, Jill. How everybody listening? Thank you so much for having me.
Nice, perfect. So, yeah, we have a super exciting story today about the fundraising success, very recent actually. And I'm super happy because first female founder in the call and also solopreneur. So, I think a lot to learn from you. Maybe you can just start with a little pitch about Howie and what you're actually doing.
Yes, so my name is Ewa Lenart. I'm a founder and CEO of Howie. And at Howie, we help large companies which are planning buildings, architects, engineers, planners, to really make sense of their data. What it means, we are building the AI brain for the built world. We help the firms with a high turnover of employees, huge amount of data they have to deal with, to create one source of truth and be able to chat with your data. Think of it as a chat GPT designed for the industry. What it means, you can talk with large amounts of data, not only text, not only images, but also our special USP construction drawings.
Yes, that's super interesting, especially because I think construction industry is such a let's say, special or not so digitized industry yet. And I think that's great that you're building an AI tool for that. And yeah, you managed to recently raise a funding round. So maybe you can tell us a bit more about the fundraising you closed.
Sounds great. And it's also very interesting because, as you know, but not everybody knows listening, that I'm solo founder and I'm also a domain founder. What it means, I come from the industry, spent 10 years working as an architect, and I'm effectively solving knowledge management issue that I always had, meeting those evergreen problem with a new technology, AI. And it's also for me, the whole journey of starting company was such a huge learning curve. I didn't know anything about business fundraising. I think I learned a lot last year. And long story short, they say you should either be fundraising mode or not. And there's nothing in between. And we made a
Yeah.
huge mistake in the beginning because once I announced I'm out of stealth, I didn't realize it. This is how VCs work. And I have, let's say, good profiles from outside. I got bombarded with a lot of VCs. And very early, like when I started last year, I spent up just talking with VCs, which was absolutely a waste of time. I didn't know you should fundraise or not, because of course, it was not a structure, it didn't have a structured proposal. Fast forward, we were 6 months post founding company. And we had a very, very strong push from the market. We released our waitlist. It was just 6 months post funding company, and we had over 200 global, really big companies signing up and kind of all wanting to work with us, which is a very great problem to have. And in our small niche, in the way we got viral. And then we got approached by people, volume two, VCs. I did not really want to fundraise at time, and I was already trained. Like, no, I'm not fundraising. I'm going to fundraise in a half year. Now I focus on public grants. And this was our strategy. We already got two grants that we will push further longer and just stayed bootstrapped. In the way, I also was not ready to get partner in. VCs can feel very overwhelming when you are not from this world. And I'm like, I don't think I'm mentally there yet. And this was good that we got approached by a very amazing firm, which gave us term sheets very early on, because down the line, all three grants that we were applying for during the time we didn't get. It's also a huge learning curve that even Austria, it's such a Disneyland for public grants. It should be your option B. And first one should be either your cash flow, like not every business has to VC raised, or venture capital backed. And the story is that we got approached by, kind of scouted by Pilabs, London-based VC firm, which is the biggest investor worldwide in PropTech. They have over 100 companies in portfolio. And if you are in build world, you know them. So, and they are from London. I'm a qualified architect. I work in London, so I knew of them. There was always somebody on my horizon. Wow, this would be amazing to have them. And so the long story short is they contacted us and they were like, we want to talk. And that time I'm like, no, I'm not fundraising. I don't even have a pitch deck right now. And they are like, then the partner wrote me, no, but I actually still want to talk. So the first few calls we had without pitch deck. So I was playing true, but kind of hard. I'm not fundraising now, but let's talk. And it moved very fast. We didn't even start DD, like it was first, partner talk second, third, and we already got a term sheet from them. Term sheet still on the basis that it's going to be a quick DD. It wasn't quick at all. So this is the mistake I did, because they were like, don't worry, you don't have to talk with others, we just do quick DD. The DD wasn't quick, and a lot of stress came out in negotiating terms. And this is a huge lesson learned, which I knew on paper. Always have a few people you talk with, because you have a better negotiation position. Yeah.
Wow, so many things to unpack. That is super interesting, actually. So let's go maybe one step back again, like in the preparation phase of it. I think you said already you really only wanted to speak with like VCs when you felt ready to talk to them. What was maybe one other learning in this kind of build up phase, let's say, because you also said you applied already to grants, but then they didn't work out. If you look back now, would you have maybe spoken earlier to VCs, or would you have done it differently in that sense? Or would you have still kind of waited longer and then just really be a bit more structured and spoken to more VCs at the same time? Like, first the preparation phase, let's say. Yeah.
Let's put it that way. We were really in the way unprepared, and we had a lot of luck, but I really think luck comes to people who work for this. We were in the hustling position, and honestly, the timing and the type of investor that we secure at the time we did was the best thing that could have happened. And now we are preparing for this was a bridge round in the way. It's 420K ticket on convertible. We secure another 200, over 200 from grants. And now we will be soon opening our half, angel round, 500K on the same terms as VC. And then in fall, we will be hitting the market with over 1 million round, ideally led by one on priced round. So we kind of have a structure now, which is not typical structure, but it really makes sense to where we are. And that time, you see, I think it happened for a reason. If we gotten one of those investors early on, first of all, we still were figuring out what we do as a business. And also, we didn't have leverage because we didn't have interest. So when Pileups came to us, we had a very good position because we had a lot of interest in the market, right? So we were attractive. So it's not just a team, it's also the traction, right? And now we have to get to another traction this year to get even better, not better, but a different co-investor. So this happened all in the perfect timing. The learning was that during DD, a lot of things changed also on our team, and they were almost make it or break it deal. And once I had to inform investor, I technically didn't have nothing. I technically didn't have to inform them. It was a few days before signing in January, and I decided I want to inform them about them some really big changes, which could have totally meant no deal. We would have been extremely bad because from first stock in September, term sheet I think late of September, DD took October, November, it was super intense, so it wasn't quick DD. End of DD, we got yes, late November, and then the whole legals, because of Austria, UK company, took almost another over a month because it was Christmas in between. There were a lot of, different legal systems. So the moment we had to inform her in January, we didn't get the grants. Our runway was hitting. And honestly, we didn't have a plan B. I mean, there's always plan B. So having momentum and having few people with whom you discuss this deal in parallel, I mean, this applies to the same, also to your job, right?
Yeah.
You should have few. So this is the biggest learning.
Yeah. Okay, understand. Yeah, 100%. I think makes sense also probably for the negotiations. It would have helped you to be probably in a bit better situation talking to Pileups. I find it super interesting that you mentioned the due diligence process as well. So I guess this is a huge learning that in the end, it's not short, even on a convertible loan, which I think is very, surprising. Because you think it's going to be quick money and it's going to be much easier compared to a price round, but actually it wasn't. What's, let's say, anything, I mean, you knew already a lot of things also before, and you said then things are happening and you actually realize it, and then you're like, damn it, I knew it, I should have done it differently. But is there one thing that you say, oh, I didn't know this and I wish I would have known that before? Something that came along the process?
This unsure thing. And it was really interesting because also there was a huge change. I think the VCs were very different to us once there was a DD and talks, and very different once we are in the fund, which is a good learning.
Yeah.
They play very different card. They are like in the way attacking. Their role is to the rescue. And once you are in, you are their portfolio company. So I would have, I think, learned to manage this better. And because there was no plan B, the amount of stress we went to, knowing that we might lose this deal. And as you said, it seemed like convertible, it's easy. And this is to maybe all other Austrian or German or DACH region. Investors from abroad don't like to invest in DACH. This UK investor, this last year portfolio, they only have American and UK companies. We were the only from continent. And I later, when I talked with some partners, they told me that even at the some end, sometimes they withdraw. So this can happen. It doesn't mean that they invested so much time. Even they invested a lot of time. It's the deal. It's not a deal until 14 days past signing. Yeah. Even when you sign the deal, it's not done. You can withdraw 14 days after, right?
Okay. Basically, only when you have the money in the bank, that's when you know it really happens. Actually.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's really crazy. But also, I think a good learning note to understand maybe location differences and what it means to have maybe a UK-based investor that invests now in an Austrian-based startup. I think this is something which maybe you discover only along the lines and not, you didn't really prepare, you couldn't really prepare for this maybe. I mean, you could, but I guess it was not really on the radar, the first thing to think about.
And just one thing, because while we were raising, I was the only full-time in the company, the only full-time person in the company, actually the only. So I didn't realize how much stress and everything on top of my normal job was DD. So now we're really prepared differently, not only getting operational support for fundraising, but also mental. I think I will really learn to plan my calendar to put food and sports because it's a very short, intense time and it's emotionally hard.
Yeah.
So this is something probably learning.
Yeah, I love that you say that. I think a lot of founders actually underestimate it because obviously it's kind of like a full-time job next to your already existing full-time job. And obviously you have to sell, you want to acquire customers or you want to bring out your product. And then at the same time, you have to also sell the whole thing to investors. So if you say like the mindset, maybe can you elaborate a bit more and tell what exactly was so stressful, like the not knowing, the uncertainty, but then also because there was so high pressure on this topic and you had a lot of other things to do, or what was the most difficult part in that regard?
I think it was timing for us. Again, we hope to get those grants. I got 3 no's in like 2 weeks while I was negotiating. Then we also had huge thunderstorm in the business. A lot of people were like, a lot of things changed fundamentally. And was lucky to find a partner who, in the end, our VC said, "Okay, we know it could be a deal breaker, but we invest in you." It's very different in the early stage. So I was really in the situation, make it or break it. Like, I'm not sure this company will survive the few months, and you have to play it different. And at the same time, you have calls with customers, you're building the team, and to everybody, you have to show, you cannot show this. So I think this was for me mentally very hard, that I was alone and I had nobody that I could share this level of uncertainty, and it's just insanely emotionally intense. Now we won't be in this position. We already have a team, people who believe it, have founders associate, looking for support. So I think it's already different. But if you are solo fundraising, if you don't raise without team, it's hard.
I think this is a great one. And I like that you bring it up again. It's important to have like people behind you that back you up, that support you, that push you, because it is obviously also, you need a lot of resilience. You need to, even if you hear, I don't know, 20 no's, you still need to continue and push and believe in it. And yeah, it's extremely tough, I can imagine. And then you have other things going around. So many things that are on your shoulders. So good job and kudos that you managed through this, and congrats again. maybe to close, I would really like shortly that maybe you can mention what's now the future plan. You said it's a bridge round. You are still trying to raise a bit more money on the same terms, and then you want to go into a bigger price round towards the end of the year. Maybe you want to add a bit more to that, and a bit like a future view.
Yeah, so maybe this sounds atypical, but also part of our VC. We are in the growth program with them, and we have a demo day in London, 22nd of May. And what we really decided to what works for our business, we are looking now, kicking off actually early next week, 3 to 500K in angels. Like our cap table is very clean. It's just me and the VC, and or not yet them, on the same terms as them. So they are very good terms, both for people investing and for us. So we hope to close it relatively fast, right, with convertible, and also lets us to get also strategic and interesting partners.
Yeah.
And what we're looking with VC, how we want to structure, because we need now at minimum 1.5 million. So we want to cover 5 million with angels and one with one VC. Our ideal setup is a one investor covering the whole ticket, and the investor who can really help and push the company. So till 22nd of May, 2 months, we're giving ourselves time through the support of our existing investor and network to really structure what do we want out of this investor? Where does it sit? We have amazing pile-ups. What do they give us? They also don't give us everything. What do we want out of business? And then we have a clear path, how we want to fundraise. That being said, we already prep all our material. Our investors are also very hands-on. We have business coaching support, and we try to build it more strategically. We would rather have somebody on 10%, one person, one investor, but at the same time, it's both advantage and disadvantage, because if you have right person pushes your company, if not down. So we really want to prepare, and we are in warm convos. So if anybody's listening or would like to, you can hit us up.
Yes, nice. I like that. That's great. I think it's maybe not the usual route to go, but I find it very interesting, and it's also great that you have already VC behind you that is supporting you in this journey and kind of guiding you, and also opening up to a network. This is great. And I'm super curious how it's going to go. So maybe in like, I don't know, 6-8 months, we have to check in and see where you are. But thanks so much for sharing the insights. I think super helpful and valuable for also other founders. And thank you. And thanks for taking the time, Ewa.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Yul, and everybody. And just don't be shy to connect with me on LinkedIn. My name is Ewa Lenart from Howie.
Yes.